I think this has been coming for Spurs, this defeat, and I commentated the game yesterday. It wasn't a fluke. Aston Villa were well worth the win, particularly in the second half. You can't keep falling behind, and particularly going 2-0 down, as they've had a habit of doing recently, and coming back and winning games. I think they're probably in a bit of a false position, Spurs. I don't see them as a side that will challenge for the top four. I think it's a straight shootout between Newcastle, Manchester United and Liverpool, if we're assuming that Arsenal and Manchester City are going to make the top four. I think Tottenham and Chelsea have got an awful lot of work to do to make up the ground.
Yeah, Tottenham have conceded first 10 times in a row. 10 times in a row they've conceded first. And look, luckily, I think Alex said they're in a false position. Luckily, they've always been able to overcome it, right? Getting late goals, draws. Now, though, once they don't get those late goals and you don't get your draws and it starts to turn into defeats, I think that's what the boos has stemmed from. Like, they're seeing these bad performances, but you can't really boo a team that's somehow finding a way to win. Once you start losing, they're going to come for you.
Yeah. Look, I'm a big Antonio Conte fan, or I think Spurs fans should in many ways be fortunate that he's at the club, because when he took over, probably only him and 3 or 4 other managers that could have got them into the top 4.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be playing Champions League football first and foremost if it wasn't for Antonio Conte. I thought the summer transfer market went well for them. I know you did too. Crookie was saying that he wasn't so sure, and that can certainly be argued now. The bottom line is, Spurs want to play, the fans have been used to a certain type of football. If you bring in Antonio Conte, not only do you not get that football, but you do get that kind of facelessness of, is he happy all the time? That is Antonio Conte. It's what he says in the tin. So don't buy him if you don't want that.
He doesn't help it though, does he, when he only signs these year contract extensions?
But why should he? Why should he?
You know, because when we talk project, you want to feel like everyone's behind this project. And when the manager's only signing a 12-month contract each season, and
why
should he
sign a long-term contract at Spurs right now, considering where he is? You look at Mikel Arteta going into Arsenal. Give me the long-term contract as soon as you can, and I hope I can perform. And let's remember, at the start of last season, Arsenal lost the first 3 games, and everyone's saying off the back of the break, I think they had Norwich coming up next.
Yeah, they did.
Lose that, and his job's gone.
But
So
Scott,
fair play to the Arsenal hierarchy.
He continually asks for more money.
Spurs is in a different situation. He's a winner, Addy.
Yeah, but if he's asking for Daniel Levy to spend what he wants, which is 150 million, why would you give it to a manager that is not guaranteed to be there beyond the summer?
But it's
also,
almost
he's
chicken
not
and
a
egg.
project manager, is he, Conte? He's someone who comes in, has a short-term lift, wins titles.
But what's the point of bringing him in if you're not going to give him full control? Now, Daniel Levy and the owner can actually turn around and say, no, I'm not dipping my hand into that pocket of 150, 200 million. That's up to them. But it's also up to Antonio Conte to say, I'm used to winning titles. I'm used to winning trophies. This squad is nowhere near good enough. We need to be spending more money. And that's where the battle comes. Ultimately, it's down to the owner. He can say yes or no. But Antonio Conte is Antonio Conte. And if he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to come out and say things publicly like he did to Sam Burnley last season. Turned it around. Wasn't it great? Why should he sign a long-term contract? If he feels he's not getting what he wants, it's a chicken and egg thing. I think we're going to wait to the end of the season to see what he's given in January, to see what the possibilities are in the summer, and to see where they finish this season as to whether he wants to carry on or not. But but the caveat of that is the football isn't good enough. You can't keep on going to the well all the time. I was at Brentford, they were 2-0 down. Now, as it happens, it was Brentford who were hanging on up against the ropes, just trying to waiting for the bell, because actually if one team was going to win it was going to be Spurs. But you can't keep on doing that. It's not going to happen all the time. And as you go further into competitions and play the bigger teams with more pressure, that first goal becomes even more important. He needs to work on that. He needs to sort it out. He needs to change the style of play. I think he needs a few defenders. And if he gets that, we'll wait and see what happens. But Antonio Conte is a proven winner.
Yeah.
Tottenham are not used to winning trophies.
Do we agree it was a good summer window, though? I honestly, look, it's not worked out now. Richarlison's been injured. Basuma's not been what I thought he was going to be. But at the time, when they made all those signings, young Jed Spence as well coming through, I thought only Arsenal had a better window than them.
Money has been spent this year.
Yeah.
You know, I think Mauricio Pochettino can claim that money wasn't spent in his time. So
that was the manager they should have backed.
Absolutely.
Mauricio Pochettino.
What was it, 2 windows? Not a penny?
To take Tottenham to a Champions League final, he does not get the respect he deserves for that. And if you gave him the kind of money that even Mourinho was allowed to spend, and certainly that Conte was allowed to spend in the summer, I think Tottenham would be a real force right now.
You know, what we're all doing is, I guess we're talking about the signings. What about the current players that are there, very quickly? Son. Just the 3 goals so far this season. As you say, a hat-trick. So he's basically only scored 1 Premier League game for Spurs. No assists really as well. And we're used to that for Son. What's happened to Son? Top goal scorer last season?
No idea. Honestly, I've seen him live and I've covered him. I remember doing the Wolves game and I actually was one of the first people to say he shouldn't start. You'd put Richarlison in. I don't know what's happened. I don't think the facial injury has helped, but listen, his lack of form has come right from the start of the summer. So he's just not the same player in terms of bursting through
everything.
And the composure, the simple passes you see him going astray. So honestly, I've no idea what's happened. I think Conte needs to look at that on the training ground. I think if Richarlison and Kulusevski's fit, I wouldn't be playing Son. But that's the issue. You know, you've got 2 key players, forward players, who you would think you've got enough forward players there now, and both of them being out, and one of them out of form. You could argue Harry Kane is still trying to sort of regain his form as well. And then you're giving away silly goals. Are we surprised it's happening?
Yes or no? Conte there next season?
No.
Yes.
No.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.